Hi, you're about to watch an interview with ZimZima, which aired on my latest edition of The Rap Show, which can be replayed on my Mixcloud page at mixcloud.com/MaryXGrimes. And now I want to introduce you to ZimZima.
What's happening, people? What's going on? What's going on?
Personal life, work life, sum yourself up to everyone.
Yeah. So I go by the name of ZimZima, or ZimZima Productions. You can find me on Insta. I'm mainly a grime producer, so I produce grime music. I'm also known to sort of have a play in house, deep house, UKG. Got a couple of tunes on the go. Some UKG tunes on the go. Signed to a few sort of single releases, to a few sort of like house labels. But mainly, I make drill as well. But I'm a grime head, so that's me in a nutshell. Work-wise, I was a technical manager at Heathrow Airport, and so obviously I've been doing music since I was young, and so I chose to sort of get away from my stresses in the pandemic through doing music. I've been releasing music for a year, even though I've been doing this since I was young. Unfortunately, like everyone else, I got made redundant. But then that's a perfect thing for me because I can focus fully on my passion. So that's pretty much me, man.
So going back in time now, where did your passion for music begin, and how did it flourish into what it is now?
Where do I start, man? I always say my greatest influence in music that made me create music was my father. To start off with was my dad. My dad, he was and still is a singer. He sings in predominantly Indian Bollywood music. My dad and my granddad. So my dad used to sing what's called Gawalis and Ghazals, right? So what these are is they are poetic, religious type music, right? You're talking, the language of which these songs are sung. The best way I could make you understand is if you look at Shakespeare, the way that Shakespeare used to write, that in the Pakistani Indian version of that. And so what I used to do is my dad was part of very big notable sort of people, parties in they say collectives, like Indian song collectives. And I used to go to these gigs. I used to watch my dad sing. I remember watching my dad record his album, when I was in the studio at like 9 years old, 10 years old. I used to watch my dad sing then. And it sparked off from there. You're going to hear me say this a lot though, because I've listened to a lot of people since I was young. Michael Jackson, big, I absolutely love his music. And then you go to sort of the Dr. Dre's, the Eminems, the NWAs, the hip hop era, the DMXs, those guys. And then you've got the UK sound. So then you've got jungle, you've got drum and bass, you've got you've got garage, and then you've got my baby I call grime, and then that's something that really spoke out to me. And so watching my dad record his music, I was really, really interested in it. And then so from that point onwards, as I grew up, my dad saw me trying to mess around on the keyboard and stuff, and then he sent me piano lessons. So then there you go, I'm classically trained a little bit. And then so I done a bit of classical music. I played in concerts. I played in I was a choir boy as well, played in some orchestras. I did school concerts. I done weddings. I played for people's weddings, entrances for weddings and stuff. And I left playing classical music because I felt it was a bit too formal for me. Classical music is very well disciplined music. If you look at Beethoven and Mozart and Liszt, and all of these guys and Chopin, they were very disciplined in their craft, and they were very tough. There's a certain way you got to place your hands on the piano. There's a certain place where you've got to place your fingers when you play on the piano. You've got to sit with your back straight. You've got to be able to sort of hear what the name of the chord is and call it out and that sort of stuff. And so obviously for me it was very, very tough for me to sort of keep up with that. I trained myself through ear. And obviously my dad put me in classical music just to sort of supplement, my talent in piano playing. And then obviously, so I left that and I decided to sort of just play piano by myself. And then I started to, grime was born, and then I started to MC when everyone was MCing. I wasn't a good MC. It was just all the boys were MCing, and everybody just wanted to jump in. It was new, everybody had bars. And so and then I started making my dad found I enjoyed doing that, and then he bought me a studio. Like he just got me a computer with some studio monitors, and he got me like a sort of like keyboards and stuff, and I started making beats on that. And so I released some tunes in my school, And then, you know, what happened was people said to me, you know, your lyrics are good, but who made the beat? I'm like, I made the beat. They were like, yo, that beat is mad, it's dope. So then I realized that, okay, my place is probably production. You know, my people are liking my production. And so, yeah, I kept that up. And then my dad sort of had a conversation with my father and my mum. My dad basically said, look, like, because my dad's done music before, he advised me to make sure that I have something to fall back on. And so he goes, make sure you go out and study and get yourself a degree or something, or have something to fall back on. Go get a job, because music is a very cutthroat business. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, I'm sure you know as well as I do, the entertainment business is, you know, from the corporate world into a different corporate world. It's really, really different. And my dad said, just make sure that you have something that you can fall back on. And so there you go. I went away, studied my mechanical engineering degree. I worked in a few companies, big companies, you know, designing pumps for oil and gas platforms and nuclear power stations. And you know, I was a sales engineer. And then my last job, I was a technical manager at the airport. And then so I got made redundant. And then so you know, but during that time, when we were on furlough, that's the time when I decided to fully take music seriously, because it was mainly a therapy for me, mainly to sort of get me off feeling negative and depressed during the lockdown and losing my job. Because remember, I got a wife and a daughter to feed, and that sort of left that sort of status I had and the ability I had to provide was gone. And so to kind of help me from falling off the rails and doing something stupid, I turned to music for my therapy, and I ain't looked back since. So yeah, that's the reason why I started it. So I've been producing since I was young, but I've only been releasing music you know, for a year. I've only been actually full on, no, I'm going to take this, I'm going to fully, you know, apply myself to this career because it's my passion, for about a year. And obviously there's this amazing DJ called Mary Grimes that played my first beat, that sort of gave me sort of the morale and boost I needed. Yeah, you know what, if someone likes it and it's played on the radio, maybe I should carry this on, and here I am. So yeah, that's pretty much me.
Thank you for the shout out. So I know from speaking earlier on with you that you've got a lot of upcoming projects, all of which is exciting. What can you tell me about these at the moment? I know you can't tell me everything.
Yeah. I mean, I'll start off with so obviously, you know, we had a conversation about hypnotic rhythm. So obviously for everyone else, I'm gonna jump onto that in a sec, but I'll just quickly talk about so I'm in talks, or I have already done a tune with Sharky Major. If people don't know, he's from obviously Nasty Crew. If you're a true grime fan, you'll know who Sharky Major is. So big up Sharky Major. Grime Originals, I'm wearing the hat, you know, Major Music Entertainment, big them all up, big up that whole family. I got in touch with Sharky Major through a tune, through a competition that he was doing. And so that was called the For the Music Challenge. Sorry. And what they did was they just released their vocals, and he done a tune with Manga from Roll Deep, Manga Saint Hilaire from Roll Deep. And so they released their vocals, and we had to reverse engineer the tune. And so obviously I reverse engineered my own version, done a remix of it. He loved it. I came third. I think it was between me, Shiz McNaughty, and Joe Fire. So big up them, man. My tune got released on the label, so you can go and stream that on Spotify, my version. And so that allowed me to kind of, you know, break the ice with him, and I sent him a few more tunes, and we've got a song on the way with Sharky Major featuring with a big boy feature. But I can't say too much about it yet, obviously. Hopefully the next time we have a chat, you'll know who it is. So look out for that. You can follow my page, follow Sharky's page. Obviously he's doing a lot. So yeah, man, you'll definitely get updates on that there. I've got a tune that'll be dropping soon with Vader as well. Vader's a legendary MC from Invasion Alert. I work with a lot of MCs up north in the Midlands and stuff. Yeah, that's called He Ain't All There. So look out for that. That's, you know, we haven't got a date set because we're still finishing off a few bits on that song. You know, I've collaborated with 301 Circular. He's another big up producer from Huddersfield, and so we've done a tune featuring you know, for Badness for his latest EP. I think it's called Me Done Up the Ting, I think it's called, and it's featuring Devilman, Vader and himself, so some big MCs on that. And then there's finally I'm even halfway there, man. House labels, house music. There's like 3 house labels I'm signed to. So that, you know, Nighttime is due to come out on Punch Up Records soon. Obviously, we wanted to sort of release that tune when it's a bassline, heavy bassline sort of house tune. That's coming out on we wanted to drop it in March, but the label said, you know, I discussed with the label that we're going to sort of drop that when parties and clubs and that open, because it's a club tune. And so obviously that's been postponed. And then I'm part of the Hypnotic Rhythms camp, and so that consists of, so people who don't know, this is probably like one of the biggest things I'm working on right now. Hollow Man Jendor, big up Jendor. People who don't know who Jendor is, he's a very prominent, legendary grime MC, and he came up through the days of grime's early days, and he was in a crew called Essentials, which consisted of himself, Remedy, Bossman, Kidman, and forgive me if I can't remember the rest of the names, but those were the prominent names I can think of. And then he went on to bring, he founded OGs. So people know who OGs are. It consisted of him, Eni, and R.I.P. Eni. He's passed, so God bless his soul. But yeah, him, Eni, P Money, Littles, Blacks, Desperado, Melanin, and Jendor. Jendor was the guy that was behind OGs. And so now what's happened is you know, everyone's had a successful career from then. He's gone and he's decided to sort of create this Hypnotic Rhythms camp. It's a label founded by himself, consists of me, the lead producer. I am the producer for him. Jendor, the lead MC, Jeddah, who's our DJ, big up DJ Jeddah, very, very good DJ. You know, he's a good guy, good brother. Kidman and Pepper from the Essential days. And so what we're doing is we're trying to 2021, we're putting in a lot of work, in a lot of grime tunes, different vibes, although grime is our stamp. But we're coming together and making a lot of good music. And so yeah, that's pretty much me in a nutshell, man. So yeah, big up Hypnotic Rhythms, big up everyone I'm working with. Jendor's my bro now. It's amazing that, like, you know, I've been listening to him since before I knew what this guy looked like. You know, people who don't know him, look up State Your Name. That's one of the biggest tunes amongst others that he's done with Essentials. And so obviously that was a tune that I heard. We used to go around schools screaming that. And so yeah, man, as a fan and as a friend now, I am to him. You know what I mean? So it's mad. But yeah, that's pretty much me, guys, man. That's what I'm doing, man.
We spoke earlier actually about, hopefully when we're allowed back in the studio, I'll bring you in.
Yeah.
Idea that you could bring Hypnotic Rhythms. All of you guys can come in.
Yeah. No, definitely. They'll definitely be down for that. Jendor will be, Jeddah will be down for that. We'll see if we can get Kidman and Pepper down. We can just have a good conversation about what we're doing and stuff like that. I'm sure Jendor would love that. You know what I'm saying? He's going to be listening to this anyway. So yeah, my brother, we've got something going on here. So yeah, we would love to do that. Yeah, man.
So you mentioned earlier on that you were made redundant due to COVID.
Yeah.
Could you give us an impact into what you think the impact is for the music industry in the UK in general is because of COVID?
Yeah, of course. It's a fantastic question, Mary. I was having a chat with a lot of DJs that I was with. You know, when we confirmed this interview, I quickly made a few phone calls just to get their insight as well as my own, because I think it's important that you don't just hear it from me, you hear it from a bunch of other guys as well. I'm in a producer collective called The Circle, so big up The Circle as well, and they are full of producers and the like who sort of, you know, we support each other through our journey in music. And I posed a question to them, and I also posed a question to a few DJs of mine, like, what do you think the pandemic has sort of, like, how has it affected? You know, they say we feel like the industry as a whole has been neglected, unfortunately. You know, as much as I commend the government for, you know, putting these furlough schemes in place and all of that sort of stuff, I kind of feel that, you know, what was missed is that these guys who are artists, although I've only just started releasing, I haven't seen an investment, you know, financially gain yet, although my popularity is growing. Some of these guys, they actually pay their mortgages off it. You know, some of these guys, the artists, they actually, you know, they live off it, they eat off of it. And so shows, you know, you've got all of that sort of stuff that was banned. And it's difficult for me to say what they could have done, but all I can say is that, you know, our sort of field hasn't been looked at. And so right from the start of, let's say, if you look at grime as an industry, let's focus on grime, right? I was speaking to one of my mates, Jeddah, big up Jeddah, and he was telling me that, like, look, the culture comes from DJ sets, and the way that it works, SETS, for those that don't know, it's a set. A DJ would put together a bunch of beats. He would call up some notable MCs. He would go to a radio station. The MCs will come together and they'll have what's called a grime set. Okay, and each MC would say about 16 bars worth of lyrics, or 8 bars, right? And then what would happen is the microphone will get passed along, and this is good promo for the MCs, it's good promo for the radio station, it's good promo for the DJ, it's good promo for me as a producer, because I would give my beats to the DJ would include that in his set, the MCs would hear it, oh my gosh, I want that beat, who's that from? That's from ZimZima. Okay, let me get in contact with him, and then there you go, there's business starts that way. When the set stopped, right, the whole industry came at a standstill. A lot of the mixes weren't being done. You couldn't go out to the set. You couldn't go out to the radio. You couldn't, artists couldn't work together. You know, although we can work remotely, some up and coming artists, you know, like we said, the kids that are growing up, who can't afford a studio, they look for, spending £20, £30 an hour to go and record. They can't. Right, and so now what do you do when I'm trying to produce a song and there's an artist I want to work with? He ain't got a studio and he can't go to a studio because of the lockdown, and then so obviously my work is stopped now. You see what I'm saying? And so then now he hasn't got access to his studio, or she hasn't got access to her studio. She can't write the lyrics, he can't write the lyrics, and so then work is stopped, isn't it? And then so then that's the frustration that it's having on the youths. Some of the older MCs that are more established, you know what I'm saying, they've got the money, so they can invest and get the studio in and say, all right, send me the beats, I can record it at home. But I think it's definitely affected the youths in that way. The industry, I think, it's been very frustrating for a lot of MCs. It's been tough for us to actually get inspired as well to create. You know, although my situation's different, I was inspired to create because I was frustrated. So I used it to sort of get away from the pain. But some of these MCs that have been doing it that have been active in the industry longer, they rely on going out and meeting people and getting inspiration from a set, or going to a Nando's and then having a melody in their head. And you know what I'm saying? And so being cooped up and isolated, it stopped their creativity as well. And so, yeah, that's the impact. I think it's difficult to say what the government could have done, but I definitely think, the effort that they would have put into, a lot of industries, they could have put some effort into sort of like the music industry in some way, shape or form, at least. And so that's what not just me, a lot of other artists are saying. And that's sort of like putting it in a nutshell. A lot of them said a few things that, it's difficult for me to sort of say, because that's their subjective opinion. But in the general consensus, this is basically how we feel about the industry. So yeah, it's definitely affected us a lot, both from a creativity and a financial point of view.
So as you said earlier, this past year has been really, really successful in regards to music gaining popularity. Yeah. I wanted to know what your long-term goals are for music.
Yeah, long-term goals. In a nutshell, I just want to make amazing music. Music is one of them things. When my dad told me to do this, and when I was doing it, don't chase the money and anything like, I'm not chasing it for fame. I'm chasing it to make heavy, timeless music. That's one of the reasons why me and Jendor really get on very well, because our sound and our vision is very much similar. We just want to make amazing, timeless, brilliant grime music, hip hop music, whatever music we can do. And so obviously, you were speaking earlier, one of the guys I looked up to a lot is MJ, Michael Jackson, the king. And so, he made Thriller. That was one of the best albums of all time. And so obviously, we're sort of like trying to make something, we're going for make me music that is like that. And so I want to work with all the biggest MCs, I already am with Jendor and Sharky, but you're talking YP Money and all these guys. They're gonna know who I am, and hopefully one day I'll get them in the studio and work with them, do it full time. I would love to do this full time because I love it very much. Who wouldn't want to do their passion full time? Come on, you know what I'm saying? Who wouldn't want to do their hobby full time, and earn a decent wage from it? Scoring movies, You know, I love orchestra. People who don't know, I'm kind of classically trained as well, so I appreciate orchestra equipment and orchestra all in all. So one day, hopefully, I get to score a movie. I'd love to do that. Yeah, I'm here to stay, really. So those are my goals, really. Just make beautiful music and work with the biggest MCs and just get my music out there and get people to sort of really see who I am through my music. So
I'm hoping you do it full time as well, actually, because I'm loving all of your tracks, and so.
Oh, thanks, man. Big up, thank you. But see, things like that is what helps me sort of want to create, and I think a lot of people, especially the listeners, like, you know, this is an art form, and although when I got into this, I wasn't doing it, you know, to get kudos from everyone. It's a bonus. So when I hear stuff, when we hear stuff like that, and when we hear people big us up, it's only going to motivate us to create more, because we can't create if, you know, without your support. You know what I'm saying? So when you run up the streams and you do all of this sort of stuff, it allows us to create more music for you guys. So when we get love like that, like Mary, I appreciate that, man. Thank you. And for people that don't know, I screamed, she gave me my first radio play, man. So big up Mary Grimes and Kane FM. You get me? All day, bro. So yeah.
Last question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any advice directly for young up-and-coming artists wanting to pursue a music career?
Yeah, definitely. I would say, if you look at me, I'm a 30-year-old man, and I've only just started to release music right now, and I've had the success. I may not have financial gain, but I can guarantee you that's coming and it's on its way. And so, you know, I'm working with some really big artists, and if I can do that, and I know it's corny and I know it's cheesy, but if I can do that, imagine you at the age of 20 years old or 19, you can really do a lot. I would say, be patient with yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself. Don't give up. And I know that's corny, but seriously, don't give up. You know, keep pushing through. Even the littlest of effort that you're putting into your craft counts a long way. Yeah. Whether it's an hour or 15 minutes a day, writing a song or producing something or practicing that dance move or whatever it is, I would say just dedicate some time to your craft on a daily basis at least, because it does add up. Don't chase the industry. The industry will chase you. It will show up once you focus on making something that you like and that you love. Everybody will show up. So yeah, just be patient with yourselves. Don't be so hard on yourselves. Keep, you know, you can do it if you put your mind to it. Don't listen to what anybody is saying. Just trust me. Look at me. I'm a prime example. I'm getting there. You can do really well in it. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Thank you so much, ZimZima, for your time today. I really appreciate it. You've been a pleasure to speak to. Now is your time to really go for it. Promote yourself. Go.
Yeah. So at me, Instagram, ZimZima Productions. You can at me on SoundCloud. You can at me on YouTube as well. Definitely look out for the tunes that I've just spoken about with Sharky, with Vader, with also Gendor as well. Definitely follow Hypnotic Rhythms at Hypnotic Rhythms. Consisting of myself, Jeddah, Gendor, Kidman, and Pepper. And yeah, man, we've got loads of movies on the way, so definitely look out for my house music, man. If you lot like going to a rave and you like house music, I've got house music on the way as well. Definitely go and stream back and forth on Spotify. Big up Album Records for that. I've got Nighttime coming up, which is going to be out on Punch Up, and then I've got some UKG coming out with Joe Berger, so you know, watch out for that as well, man. Big moves, man. So yeah,
thank you.
Cool, no worries.